Hi Sandra, have you heard of generative AI?
Hi Kai. Yes, I heard about it. What have you heard?
Well, I heard that it can generate new things like images, music and text with little human input. Is that true?
Yes, that's right. Generative AI is a powerful tool that can be used to create and modify new content.
Wow, that's amazing. So, what kind of applications can generative AI be used for?
Well, for a start, we've used it to compose everything that we've been saying up till now.
Is that so? I was just wondering why I felt so robotic. Just thought I needed coffee.
You probably still do. Why don't you go grab a cup of coffee and I'll introduce people to generative AI.
Sounds like a plan.
What is generative AI? If you've been following the tech news, or any news really, since the end of 2022, you will have seen a lot of chatter about AI, much of it about generative AI, like ChatGPT or Stable Diffusion. Two kinds have really taken off: text-to-image tools, like OpenAI's DALL-E 2, and text generators, most famously OpenAI's ChatGPT. If you haven't used these tools before, here's how they work. You type in a short prompt, say, write an intro dialogue for a video about generative AI, and the system produces a text output. Or for image generation, you could ask it to create a picture of an angry cat typing on a calculator. Judging by the media hype, it might seem that these tools arrived quite suddenly, but the story begins back around 2014. Back then, researchers realized that they could use an image recognition AI system that was trained on millions of text-labeled photographs of people to generate new pictures of faces that had never existed. Turns out, once the various features of an image have all been ingrained in these huge neural networks, you can reverse the recognition process. Doing this creates new, never-before-seen images by using the keywords in the text prompt, like cat, angry, typing, calculator. In 2022, OpenAI released DALL-E 2, its most advanced image generation model at the time. DALL-E 2 can generate high-quality creative images from prompts. These can be very detailed, even including artistic styles or image genres like sketch or photograph or 3D render and the like. DALL-E 2 was followed by other text-to-image generation models, such as Midjourney or Stable Diffusion. Similar techniques are used with text recognition AI, like OpenAI's GPT-3, released in 2020. People were amazed at the coherence and the quality of the text GPT-3 could generate. The Guardian used GPT-3 to compose a widely circulated article titled, "A robot wrote this entire article. Are you scared yet, human?" Or did it? As it turned out, the article had been heavily edited and compiled from a number of separate GPT-3 responses. Not that scary, but useful nonetheless. In late 2022, OpenAI released ChatGPT, a chatbot layer for GPT-3 that was optimized to create more conversational and human-like responses. And ChatGPT really got the world's attention.
So how does it work? The tech underpinning generative AI is also known as foundation models. Foundation models are very, very large AI models that use deep learning to ingest vast databases of images or text from the internet to derive patterns. Large language models are trained on hundreds of gigabytes of text. What kind of text? Well, everything. OpenAI uses a huge database ingesting all of Wikipedia, for example, and websites, books, computer code, or web forums containing human conversations. This vast set of data enables the model to learn associations in the content and establish patterns in the way language is used by us humans. While very computing and energy intensive, training this type of model requires much less work from humans in preparing the data than other AI approaches. It uses a form of unsupervised learning to derive language structure by dissecting the way humans build sentences. Now, think of it like this. During training, the AI takes a sentence from the database, hides a word, takes a guess at what the missing word should be, then reveals the word to itself to see how correct its guess was. It repeats this process billions of times with all kinds of text to become more and more accurate at predicting what words complete particular sentences or prompts. In the case of ChatGPT, another layer of training was added, based on human feedback. For example, the foundation model would generate multiple possible answers to a text prompt, and a group of test users would then rank them by quality. This would then be used to further train the algorithm. This way, OpenAI was able to make responses more conversational, more human-like, safer, and weeding out many of the possibly harmful answers. Image generation AI uses a technique called generative adversarial networks, which pits one AI generating pictures against another one trying to recognize if the picture includes the prompt features. Stable Diffusion uses an approach called, surprisingly, diffusion. One network generates an image that looks like random TV static, then progressively removes this noise to see whether it already matches the words contained in the prompt, until ultimately it does. Again, these systems are made possible by the millions of pictures of cats, dogs, polar bears, and toothbrushes in all kinds of styles already available on the internet.
What can it be used for? As you can imagine, there are many ways these tools can be applied. Natural language tools like ChatGPT can be used to create all kinds of texts, such as song lyrics, poems, essays, even computer code. They can act as conversational partners, answering questions, summarizing long texts, or even mimicking historic personas. Write me a recipe for cooking noodle soup in the style of a Shakespearean poem.
The soup with care upon the stove doth brew, and simmers slow to reach its perfect form, and served with grace in bowls to me and you, a heart-warming meal that keeps us warm.
Tools like ChatGPT are already used wherever texts need to be produced that follow certain patterns. For example, in writing stock market reports, real estate listings, or marketing copy. GPT-3's API can be integrated into a range of open source tools to assist writers or to build intelligent assistants that respond with lifelike answers to customer queries. ChatGPT can also assist with summarizing or abbreviating large bodies of text. Similarly, image generation tools like DALL-E 2 can assist with designing marketing creative. For example, an image of a smiling woman in front of the University of Sydney, taken with a telephoto lens. It even allows editing images, such as erasing parts and changing the prompt, to also add a man in the picture. Image generation tools can also be used to illustrate pitches or showcase ideas. Tools like Stable Diffusion and Midjourney have artistic potential as well. Having ingested millions of pictures of artworks, these models can create beautiful, sometimes fantastical images in the style of particular artists. Jason Allen, a video game designer, made headlines winning an art competition with his AI-created work, Théâtre d'Opéra Spatial. You could think of these systems as new tools in the artist's toolbox. Entrepreneurs will likely invent many more uses for generative AI. Some services will incorporate foundational models, others will create bespoke generative AIs. We are already seeing experimental services like SCOTUS AI trained on Supreme Court opinions to help lawyers with their research. Or the Lensa app, which had a moment of fame in 2022 with its Magic Avatars feature. Users could upload photos of themselves, and the model would transform them into beautiful pictures of astronauts, fairies, and stylish office workers. And as so often happens with AI trained on our collective social life, such uses reveal many of the biases, such as common perceptions of beauty, that are embedded in these datasets.
Are there challenges? As with any new technology, there are still some challenges to be addressed. With image generators, there are ethical issues raised about the use of artists' work in training data. potentially undermining their creative autonomy, IP, and income. Stable Diffusion tried to address this by giving artists the option to opt out of the training data. In the case of text generators like ChatGPT, many have pointed to problems with accuracy due to a phenomenon known as hallucination. While ChatGPT often provides the correct answer to our questions, sometimes the AI gets factual answers strangely wrong. For instance, getting simple math questions wrong. A CNET article written by generative AI suggested that a savings account initially containing $10,000 with a 3% interest rate compounding annually would accrue a whopping $10,300 of interest in a year. Now, that's a bank I'd sign up for. Obviously, the actual interest is only $300. It is important to remember that these models are language, not knowledge models. They generate language, but do not have any real understanding of the topics. They only give the statistically most likely matching text. This also means that they are prone to stereotyping and reproducing common misconceptions, precisely because these are often the most probable answers to a given prompt. They're common. To address problems with accuracy, many websites and organizations are putting policies in place to limit the use of AI-generated text. For example, Stack Overflow, a website for programmers to exchange computer code, had to stop accepting ChatGPT-generated answers because many turned out to be riddled with errors. And then there's the challenge of humans as well. As students discover ChatGPT for writing responses to essay questions, education institutions, such as universities, have to rethink how they conduct their assessments.
So what's the take-home message about this brave new world of generative AI and powerful foundation models? 1. It's amazing. The latest generative AI is a real leap forward. Image generators are becoming an important creative tool for anyone working with pictures. Text generators like ChatGPT, if used critically, can be useful in supporting jobs that involve writing. 2. It's not magic. It's maths. Language models trade in language, not knowledge. They sometimes hallucinate, give shallow or meaningless responses, or contain stereotypes or common misconceptions. There is still a need for humans in the loop to help work through some of their quirks. 3. It can't really learn. Generative AI is trained on a particular database at a particular point in time. For example, if you ask a question about something that happened after 2021, ChatGPT will tell you that it doesn't know the answer. And while you might be able to correct it in a single chat session, this only works because the network recognizes your correction as part of the prompt text. It won't remember it next time you open the system. 4. It's powerful when used well. It depends on good prompts from humans, but when used carefully, it's interesting, it's fast, and it can save time on tasks which require straightforward outputs. These foundation models are new tools for businesses, and they will continue to find their way into all kinds of applications.
But how can people be sure that this entire script wasn't written by AI?
Yeah, Kai, how can people be sure?
Sandra, how can people be sure?